Okay, so how to profit and how to make money when the property market is in a decline and prices are falling. I'm going to give you a few really key ways on how to generate a good income and good profit when the economy is contracting and declining. Coming up. Welcome back, my name is Marco. I'm a property investor, developer and mentor. And today I'm talking all about how to make money and how to profit in property when house prices are falling and when the property market is declining. And as a result, maybe the economy is contracting also and confidence is low. And you'll be surprised there are various ways on how to make money and really good strategies and tactics on how to navigate this normal stressful time in the economic cycle and use it to your advantage. So let's start with a very brief introduction on maybe the past couple of years and what we can expect. So for those of you in property in 2021 and the start of 2022, it was an absolutely phenomenal, crazy time. Demand was at an all-time high, supply was at an all-time low, and as a result, it was a seller's market. Anyone that's selling a property in 2021 and the beginning of 2022 would have got a great price selling their property. And it was very difficult to actually offer on property, let alone get a viewing booked in. It was that crazy in 2020, 2021 and the beginning of 2022. However, let's fast forward to current day, and I'm recording this in March 2023. Well, we had that interest rate fiasco in September 2022 where things pretty much fell off a cliff. And since then, demand in the market has seriously calmed down, cooled down. And because of this, we're slowly transitioning to less of a seller's market to more of a buyer's market. And this is really because demand has decreased. Supply is still relatively low, but demand is nowhere near what it was in 2021 and 2022. So what this means is that property prices have fallen. So if we look in November, December, January 2023, property prices have fell slightly. Interestingly enough, in February 2023, prices actually grew by a very, very small percentage. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the coming months. So as I've already mentioned, we're heading to more of a buyer's market, which means, number one, there's more negotiation power as you as a buyer coming in to purchase a property. As there's less demand in the market, there are less investors in the market. Well, all of a sudden, there's less competition for you. So you've got a greater negotiation position and you can maybe get a better offer secured on a property than you would have done, say, in 2021 or 2022. So you can buy at better prices. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of ways on maybe how you can find motivated vendors who are maybe willing to accept a lower price on their property in order to get a sale agreed. So first of all, Zoopla do a really good filter. So if you're searching for property on Zoopla, you can sort the results by the largest discounted properties. So just as you sort by price high to low or low to high or whatever they may be, maybe the oldest or newest listing, you can sort by properties that have been reduced in price. And it shows you at the very top the properties that have been reduced the most from the original price they were listed for. So this gives you a good indication that maybe you're dealing with a vendor who's motivated and wants to sell this property in a timely manner. Now, again, another way to maybe have a look at this is by going to Rightmove. And in fact, in Rightmove, you can filter and sort by oldest first. And it will bring up the oldest listing, and maybe you'd like to think that if a property had been on the market for a long time, that vendor may be open to selling that property at a lower price to get it sold and off the books and to move on to the next thing. So there are two tips using the online portals to actually find a really good deal in a housing downturn and when prices are falling. And my next point follows very nicely on in terms of the online property portals, Rightmove, Zoopla and etc., those types of portals. Well, if you were trying to find, just relying on these online portals to find property deals in 2021, 2022, well, you probably wouldn't have purchased that many properties simply because there was so much demand, and by the time it's been listed on Rightmove or Zoopla, by the time you phoned up, not only is it very difficult to get a viewing in, but everyone else has seen it, and because everyone else has seen it, price starts to increase. So now that demand has cooled off slightly, consider spending a bit more time and going back to the property portals. I actually released a video how 100% of the properties I purchased in 2022 didn't come from any online portal, didn't come from Rightmove, didn't come from Zoopla. However, saying that, now I'm actually spending a bit more time on the portals because demand has decreased. You'll find there's more opportunities on the portals, and actually you'll find some properties listed at good price points that you can go in and maybe further negotiate a greater discount. So don't give up on the portals. If anything, spend a bit more time on Rightmove or Zoopla because good property deals are coming up on the portals. Okay, so my next point I want to talk about is really important to the economic cycle when we're in a downturn, and that cash is king. And cash is absolutely king when property prices are falling. You know, in a recession, you really want cash and you want good reserves in order to secure properties, because normally lending is squeezed slightly. And if you're relying on mortgages and other types of external finance, well, maybe you're not in a best position to negotiate a really good price on that property. So cash is absolutely king. Consider having some cash in the bank to be able to exploit any property opportunities that you come across when prices are falling and when the housing market is in a decline. Because if you've got cash, not only do you have stronger negotiation power, but people are going to take you more seriously, you've got proof of funds, and the agent can better sell that offer to the vendor. Okay, so the next little tip I want to give you, and you should be doing this irregardless of the economic cycle and where property prices are, but make sure to touch base with the properties you've offered on in the past. So all my mentees know that I have a database. Every time I offer on a property, I add it to the database. So I have the property details, the offer amount, the agent and their contact details. And in my Google Calendar, I have a recurring event every month to touch base and to follow up with the agents or the vendors of this property. Because let's face it, 1 in 3 properties fall through in the UK, and it doesn't take much for a property to fall through. And the agent may not know to call you if that property has fallen through, and they may have forgotten, maybe they don't have the systems to remind them. So it's really important that you tell them that you're still interested in that property. So where does this tip really add value and is suitable to when property prices are falling? Well, I'll explain right now. So let's just say you've offered on a property and, I don't know, they decided to proceed with another offer or something like that. Well, let's fast forward 6 months to the present day. We're not in as good a place as we were 6 months ago in terms of the economy and property prices. And that vendor has just seen maybe that sale fall through, and all of a sudden maybe they're quite worried and maybe they're willing to accept a greater discount to get this property sold. Maybe they need cash for whatever reason. So again, this is a great opportunity for you to re-offer on that property. Maybe you can adjust the figures slightly. In fact, maybe you can offer slightly more on the property because, mortgage rates have come down since September 2022. Let's face it, lenders overreacted to all the panic and the mayhem caused in September 2022. That being said, property prices have fallen since then, so actually maybe your offer could be slightly lower, and that vendor may be willing to accept that lower offer for the certainty of your offer and a higher probability of their sale completing. So just to recap, it's really important to re-offer and touch base and follow up with those offers you've submitted in the past. And as I mentioned before, you should be doing this on a monthly basis, irregardless if the property is still for sale, the property has been sold, or maybe it's been taken off the market. Touch base, you never know what can happen. And at the end of the day, you're building a relationship, which is really important. You could be building a relationship with the agent or directly with the vendor themselves. So another little thing that I think we're going to see crop up a little bit more, unfortunately, is repossessions. Those that purchased properties 2 or 5 years ago at very low interest rates, all of a sudden when it comes to refinancing, how are those deals going to stack? I think it's going to force people to either sell, or maybe those will enter financial difficulty, and repossessions are going to be on the increase, which is quite unfortunate and sad. So maybe you'll see more repossessions come in the auction. And again, repossessions are generally quite good properties because, when you see them in the auction, normally they're not problematic properties. So you can then purchase them and finance them at a later date. And really it's more of a paperwork exercise than, getting your hands dirty and adding value via refurbishment. So here are, a few quick tips on how to profit during an economic downturn, how to profit when property prices are falling. And let's face it, for us as investors, when prices are falling, this is a good thing because it means we can acquire and purchase properties at better price points. And providing we're in it for the medium to long run and we're not flipping properties in the short term, well actually this is a really good opportunity to acquire properties at a good discount and then maybe refinance or sell them on in the medium to long term. So those are a few quick tips, but there's so many more ways to profit during an economic downturn and during when property prices are falling. So post in the comments if you're doing anything different or any tips you have to share to my audience here today. I'm sure they'll be greatly appreciated, and so would I. Now, I kindly request that you consider subscribing to the channel. As you can see, we've got some really good buy-to-let, property investing and finance videos on the channel, so please do feel free to browse and choose a video to watch in your own time. And it takes me a lot of time, effort and energy to produce these videos, so it does mean a lot to me if you would consider liking the video and sharing it with your friends and family. So I wish you all the best in your property investing journey, and as you know, every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 o'clock we release a full length video, so do stay tuned for that. All the best, goodbye.